Y2K. The start of a century that will flicker out as soon as it's begun. I'm the only one who was really planning for the end of the world. Not joking about computers or planes falling out of the sky. As if our world hangs on these tiny threads. I guess in some ways I started planning when I was 9. Ever since I first saw those Protect and Survive adverts, I designed the basement as the fallout room with stacked boxes of mud and tins of beans. Mom didn't get it. She kept smiling about what a lovely den I'd made. I explained that it wasn't a den. Dens are for babies. It was our inner refuge. Mom, Dad, my sister, my brother laughed their heads off. Mom dismantled it the next day. I just rebuilt it, sitting there for hours reciting the government's advice like an incantation. At least I was out of the way. It's not like they ever bothered to tidy the basement. And it's probably still there, but the thought of it doesn't comfort me anymore. Can you believe there are people out there who are still partying? Guests mingling to find their end of year fuck? People drunk or high? And with a bang! I get that, but some people are just dancing, laughing. The world ends, but the stupid party insignificant nothingness goes on. I couldn't go to parties with Eloise. She'd start these big political rants about the government or the environment, and in private it was wonderful, but raging about the dangers of climate change in front of some poor guest who can barely handle small talk. At least you're not that kind of lesbian. That's what my mom said. She was always thanking me for my discretion. You should look outside. It's even more sinister than the total solar eclipse. I knew that momentary plunge into darkness was just an astrological novelty. A few minutes of entertainment wearing NAF glasses. Look now. Do you see this substance? Like blood? Cracking the moon into? They're interviewing some nut job on TV. He says the moon is sick, and then it'll start to turn yellow, and then there'll be the final blackout. The reporters listen to him because the scientists have no idea. Science has the answers. We just have to find out what they are. That's what Eloise used to tell her students. Classic sarky little teens who always complained that they never use any of this in real life and they didn't want to be scientists, so it was such a waste of time. I was that girl once. You think you know everything and you've done nothing, but by the time I ended university, I've done everything, but I knew nothing. And you wouldn't think looking at us, but I was the more experienced one when I met Eloise. She had no illusions about the world, what we're doing to our planet, the systematic lying of the government consumed by their own deceptions. These were rational predictions. And even her naive views felt like a logical hope. Everybody thinks they're going to change the world, but Eloise is the only person I've met who really could have. Not that she would have said something so pompous. For my 25th birthday, she bought me the book of apocalyptic myths. I called it the Bible of Distraction. Eloise thought that knowledge was something to be kindled and explored. And if I was 9, I would have grinned and lapped up that somebody knew me and wasn't afraid of the things that obsessed me. But 5 years in the sanctuary of my makeshift inner refuge showed me how knowledge can suffocate. We need some ignorance in order to live. Most of the myths are pretty freaky, but there's this one I love. For the last day of Earth's existence, the dead will come back to us and we will spend a day together before oblivion. Naturally, Eloise and I had planned to spend hours together. I thought it would end the way it always does with me. I love you is the key word for getting the hell out. But when she said it, it felt like the beginning of something. We were making plans. The dream of starting a family felt almost like a certainty. But we both know that there is only one certainty in life. There was nothing memorable about that day. No last words I would echo in my dying breath. There was a black and white movie on TV. Thank God I don't remember what it was. Just in the background as I was eating tea. And then I see it on the news. Crash. Car crash. 4 seriously injured. 1 fatality. Her brother called to confirm it. And he said he couldn't promise anything, but he tried to convince their parents to let me come to the funeral. Because they knew how important I was to her, and that's what she would have wanted. He warned me that family might ask questions and that I might get a few stares, and unfortunately, Eloise wasn't there to shoot them down with a well-poised answer. I was permitted as very close friend. Her mother had allowed it on the condition that I didn't make a statement. Having always had pride in my discretion, I went there feeling like a ghost. When I came home, I had a thought. Eloise always described the colour of her eyes as being corpse blue. I wish I could tell jokes. That's what she would have wanted, not passages from the Bible. Two moons. I suppose we should join the rest of them. Take a last look at the freak of nature that's going to kill us in 48, 24, 4 minutes. The scientists don't agree on how long we have left. No, However long it is, I won't spend it with these people. We'll just have to wait it out together. You and me. They don't bother with the taxi service during the apocalypse. You'll want to tell me about yourself, I imagine. I understand. It's depressing to spend your final moments with a stranger. But I've talked too much now, and the moon is gushing with blood. And it has split. Please don't say anything. I'm sorry, but I don't want your voice to be the last thing I hear. I'm sure you have so many loved ones whose voices you can conjure up for some words of comfort to prepare you for the end. My myth won't come true. Life is random, and I must look at the world like Eloise, a woman of science as she called herself. I have to hear her voice. And then I'll be ready for oblivion.